Greetings, hunters! In this video, we'll talk about the different special performances available to the hunting horn in Monster Hunter Wilds. In total, there are 3 special performances, mainly Melody of Life, Offset Melody, and Resounding Melody. Now, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm gonna give it to you straight. Melody of Life is bad, Offset Melody is good, and Resounding Melody is quite awesome. If you're not familiar with special performances, these are brand new tools for the hunting horn introduced in Monster Hunter Wilds. They're similar to normal songs in the sense that they all need specific note inputs to be queued up, but they're special in the way that they occupy a separate 4th slot within your song queue list. Once you've queued songs for your special performance, it never goes away unless you specifically use it. And once you stop, you'll need to queue its corresponding notes again. All special performances can be performed anytime and can be comboed off of any moves, including performances and encores. You do them by pressing R2 and triangle plus circle. If you need to know which special performances are available on which hunting horns, feel free to check my hunting horn stats and sounds video, which I've linked in the description below. Alright, first up is the Melody of Life. The Melody of Life functions as a dedicated healing performance, and it heals around 30 health points, and with recovery up plus 3, it heals around 45 health points. While this sounds good and useful in paper, in practice the Melody of Life is too slow and requires far too much preparation in order to become a viable healing option. While doing the Melody of Life, you don't gain any hyper armor nor damage reduction, and you're stuck having to do a very long casting animation that leaves you open to all sorts of danger. By comparison, sheathing your weapon and using a healing item is a far better alternative. Here are the amounts healed by Life Powder and Dust of Life, which are party-wide heals, mind you. By comparison, here are the heal amounts of Melody of Life at base amount and at recovery up plus 3 amounts. As per my testing, Horn Maestro does not affect the amount healed by Melody of Life. Now, although Melody of Life does heal party members, personally, I think the Melody of Life needs at least both a damage reduction and hyper armor during the animation, and it should at least heal 50% or more of one's HP. This will, at the very least, give it value as a proper emergency survival option for hunting horn players. But as it currently stands, the Melody of Life just doesn't have much use other than getting heals outside of using items. With that said, having Melody of Life could still prove useful in cooperative play. Technically, you only have a limited amount of Life Powder or Dust of Life available for use in a hunt, and with Melody of Life, you can cast it indefinitely, so long as you are given enough time. To make the best out of Melody of Life, you must pre-queue the songs at all times so that you are ready to heal anytime any of your party members requires a heal. It's also important to remember that even if you're healing others, it doesn't mean that you should stop contributing to damage, so you have to be mindful of getting in your hits as well. Lastly, you must heal only when you are safe. The safest times to heal would be after a big monster move or when the monster is busy attacking somebody else. Now, on to the Offset Melody. This special performance allows the hunter to do a counterattack by way of playing a specific song just before an enemy's attack lands on you. A successful Offset Melody would result in good damage, an enemy stagger, and some flashy style points. With the Offset Melody, it helps to have a set of rules to keep things simple and consistent. Mainly for each monster, try to look for one move that has a long enough animation duration, has a well-telegraphed beginning animation, and should be counterable. The steps are: read the move, react with the Offset Melody, hold it in place, and then you do the counter. I have a separate video on Offset Melodies and I talk about the rules in great detail there, so do check that out if you want to learn more. This should be linked in the description below. You can also use the offset melody as a last-ditch effort to try and minimize your losses through hyper armor and damage reduction. This should work on moves that you normally can't counter. Now, while I would consider the offset melody as a good move, it has three glaring weaknesses compared to offset attacks from other weapons. One is that it has a very long wind-up backflip animation. This limits our options only to moves that have longer animations than the backflip itself. Second is that offset melodies must be prepared with notes beforehand. Unlike the other weapons where certain attacks have built-in offset mechanics and are easily accessible at all times, our offset melodies need to be prepared with 4 notes prior to use. And lastly, in order to know which moves can be countered with an offset melody, let alone do the timing of the counter, the player themselves must possess an intimate understanding of the monster's moveset. In short, offset melodies are not very beginner-friendly. Lastly, the offset melody's backflip does indeed have invincibility frames, around as much as a normal dodge roll. This could at least save you from specific scenarios. And finally, we have the Resounding Melody. The Resounding Melody is a series of 3 swings which deal a moderate amount of damage. If the third swing lands on a target, a special shockwave projectile is fired like a piercing ammo, like can be seen here. The projectile in particular has no travel distance limit and will continue traveling on a straight path, so keep that in mind for now. The Resounding Melody does not have hyper armor nor damage reduction, meaning this move can be interrupted by monster attacks. As is the case, the best ways to use this move is to either punish a monster's attack or finish off your combo when the monster is down. Now, because of the nature of Resounding Melody, its effectiveness is entirely dependent on the type of enemy that you are up against. Using Resounding Melody against monsters that are relatively smaller in size, like fanged beasts or arachnids, are not as effective as when you would use it against larger enemies like leviathans or flying wyverns. In addition, some monsters are technically not large enemies, but they do have certain moves that make them occupy a lot of surface area, and that would be a good time to use the Resounding Melody as well. Some monsters occupy a small space when upright, but then occupy a larger area when incapacitated. Also, do make it a habit to always adjust your focus aim towards the back end of the monster to maximize the shockwave travel distance. Finally, it's important to understand that on its own, the Resounding Melody deals considerably less damage than a performance to encore combo, especially since Resounding Melodies only interact with an echo bubble once, while performance to encore combos allow for multiple bubble echo explosions. But what it lacks in damage, it more than makes up for in relative speed and in situational potential. Having a playstyle that relies mainly on Resounding Melodies rather than performances and encores is actually a very valid approach. In short, if you like doing Resounding Melodies rather than performances and encores, by all means do so. Alright, that's the end of the video, hunters. If there was anything I missed or if you want me to cover something specific in future videos, please let me know, I'm all ears. If you have questions about builds and theory crafting and such, I highly encourage you to join our Hornpop Discord server. The community there is mostly made up of a very passionate group of hunting horn mains, many of whom are more than willing to help you with any questions or requests. Thank you once again for supporting this channel. It really does mean a lot to me to see so many people appreciate the videos that I do. As always, hunters, happy hunting!